So Jordan Chariton of Status Coup is an independent left-wing investigative journalism outlet founded by Jordan Chariton, former investigative journalist for TYT. And he really, he does some really crucial work. He's done really crucial work on Flint, Michigan. I mean, he stayed in Flint and kept going back, and he broke stories in Flint, talked to all the residents there, stayed with them, throughout the years, even after the mainstream media disappeared from there, when it was no longer politically convenient. He really stuck on the story, and I think his work is what has led to even any sort of charges happening against the government officials there in Flint, even though the charges weren't nearly strong enough. But they've done some really important work there. They've done, they travel all around the country. Jordan travels all around the country with his crew, and they interview people they've gone around through the primaries and rallies. I was actually interviewed by Jordan Chariton in New Hampshire at a Bernie rally, which was a really cool experience before I started this channel, and kind of honestly was a part of the influence for the channel in the first place, because of the reaction that I got in the comments from my parents on Status Coup. And so it's appreciate the work that Jordan does, and it's, again, investigative journalism, real journalism that he's doing, and breaking stories. Broke a important story on Donna Brazile and how she had given the questions in 2016 to Hillary Clinton before the debate against Bernie Sanders, and broke stories like that, but broke many important stories. And he recently went on a rant explaining how his channel is being suppressed by YouTube and on other platforms as well, Facebook, even Twitter. And he's noticed a significant drop in his views and the activity on his videos. And I've honestly, I mean, I've experienced the same thing. It's hard to, from what you hear and what you see, the rate of growth for channels, going back 5 years is just totally different than it is now. It seems like if you're talking about the sort of, news from a left-wing perspective, it just seems like it's so difficult to grow at this stage. And especially when you're talking about certain racial issues, anti-capitalist rhetoric, anti-police rhetoric. Often it gets really, they start YouTube and these other major tech corporations have done a lot to try to, influence that and try to suppress independent journalists and independent outlets, and to promote what they consider, the mainstream sort of reputable outlets, like, the same folks that pushed lies about weapons of mass destruction and torture, and advocated for torture, and advocated for the Iraq war, which turned out to be an illegal war. And these same people are considered, these same outlets, the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, they're seen as the reputable outlets, while outlets like ours are, seen as fringe or too radical. And YouTube is doing a lot of work to suppress our channels. And so Jordan Chariton went on a little rant here about this, and I thought that it was really important. And what's happened with his channel is really significant. He's seen a steep decline in viewership of his videos in the past few weeks, and it's very noticeable.
It is abundantly clear that YouTube has, and it's not just YouTube, by the way, it's Twitter, Facebook, we don't even bother with anymore because nobody even sees us there. They have rigged, and I think you kind of lose people with the term algorithm. So let's just forget algorithm. They have rigged their system. They have rigged their system. This platform has rigged its system to basically elevate, meaning more prominently show MSNBC, CNN, like, 10 years ago, Wolf Blitzer would get like 1,000 views. Now he's getting hundreds of thousands. Did people suddenly start loving Wolf Blitzer on YouTube? And they are doing this. They are essentially rigging the algorithm to flood your feed, to if a Jimmy Dore video ends, instead of it going to another Jimmy Dore video or going to another channel that's similar to Jimmy Dore, it goes to like Rachel Maddow. Do you not see what they're doing? I mean, literally, we had John, our cameraman, live from a Breonna Taylor, the 1-year anniversary rally of her murder. We have 108,000 subscribers. We maxed out at 150 live viewers. That's not because people don't care about Breonna Taylor a year after her murder, still without justice. It's because people don't see that we're live. People don't even know we're live. I mean, John was live from a rally in New York City covering New York workers rallying in solidarity with the Amazon workers in Alabama trying to unionize. I don't even think we got over 100 live viewers live. It's not possible for a channel with this size unless the majority of its subscribers aren't seeing when they're live, aren't getting the shorter videos, we're not recommended. And why this is much bigger than Status Coup, of course, like we are Status Coup, so we're interested in what's happening to us. But why this is much bigger than Status Coup, you can't actually have change in America or any country. You cannot actually have change if the problems, if the corruption, if the injustices are being hidden from the public. That's what YouTube is doing. You know, when I do an interview on the water crisis in Jackson, Mississippi, and it gets 600 views, well, who is that hurting? Yes, it's hurting me. It's hurting Status Coup because we're not getting any views, meaning we can't make any money and grow our business. But it's hurting Mississippi. It's hurting the people of Jackson who don't have clean water. When YouTube throttles and hides live streams and shorter videos on Amazon's union busting, or Amazon literally having employees conducting COVID testing. We broke that story. 38-year-old Pashawn Brown suddenly died at the age of 38, didn't have any health problems because, well, I don't want to say because we don't know if she had COVID because the family couldn't afford an autopsy. But we broke that story that Amazon had this woman, a worker, testing other workers. This should be treated as a scandal. The fact that YouTube, the fact that Twitter, the fact that Facebook are essentially picking winners and losers and burying alternative voices. Let's not just talk about the term progressive. Let's not just say they're burying progressive. They're trying to bury anti-war voices. They're trying to bury anti-capitalist voices. They're trying to bury, anti-fossil fuel voices.
That's all
They're
us.
trying to bury anti-Wall Street voices.
That's all us.
They're trying to bury anti-police
That's
voices.
us.
You can't call your company YouTube if in reality it's FuTube. And I understand that outlets need to, monitor extremism and white supremacy and all those things. That's fine. I'm not saying let neo-Nazis run rampant all over the internet, but they have used that as an excuse to basically bury independent media. And let's also not be naive, folks. YouTube has a financial interest in burying independent outlets. Why is that? Because YouTube put all of its apples into YouTube TV. You know what YouTube TV is? For many years, and by the way, my old employer, the Young Turks, put a lot of its apples on YouTube TV. And frankly, YouTube TV has been a colossal failure. So when I hear people responding to the tweets and responding to this about, well, Jordan, like, go to Rockfin, go to Twitch, go to this. Yeah, we're doing all those things. Right now, we're working on a strategy to start doing more stuff exclusively on Twitch. But the point is, we should not simply accept this because it's not right. Listen, if there was no YouTube algorithm, if they were not burying us and lifting CNN and Fox News and all these other channels, we'd be at 500,000 subscribers very easily right now. You want to know how I know that? Because when I was at the Young Turks in 2016 and 2017, I built the fastest growing channel they ever had. It wasn't because I'm so wonderful. It was because there's a huge hunger and demand for actual living, breathing journalism. There's a huge hunger and demand for journalists to leave their studios and go to Flint and Standing Rock and Mississippi and Texas and all the places we've been. I could give you a whole long list over the last 3 years. We've been where no one else is going because we give a damn and we are journalists. We're not just looking to do commentary from our studio. I'm not knocking those who only do that, but there is a dire hunger and a dire need for this kind of journalism. But the thing is, how are you supposed to do that journalism if there's no guarantee people could see it? I know for a fact, if we would have started this channel, let's say in 2014, 2015, before YouTube changed all of this algorithm stuff, before YouTube rigged its entire algorithm to basically bury independent news and, blow CNN and MSNBC, because that's what's going on here, we probably would be over 1 million subscribers by now.
What he said there definitely resonates with me as somebody that has been trying to build a channel now for going on a year. Actually, I mean, I took a bit of a hiatus shortly after Bernie dropped out of the primary. So after what was it? April of last year. So we're going on a year since I first started the channel, and at least with this political, talking about politics. And I've seen the very, very, very slow growth that has happened over the course of that past year, and the times where it sometimes, it'll speed up a little bit, but often just completely falls off a cliff and even goes in the reverse direction where I'm losing subs, multiple subs a day. And so this is real. Independent media is being suppressed. There's no doubt about it. I thought that it was really, an important point that Jordan Chariton's making here. He has a call to action later in the video where he makes a call to action to people like Crystal Ball and Kyle Kalinske and other folks with large platforms to draw attention to this, to use their platform to try to call attention to this problem and call out YouTube, because this is unacceptable and this is not what freedom of the press looks like. If we have one single major corporation, Google, able to be the decider of what news what news entities are uplifted and which ones are suppressed, and we just can't allow that, because today it's Google, but do they have the best of intentions, and what are their intentions? And typically those intentions align with corporations and with upholding the status quo, and the status quo is not working for the masses of people right now. And so we can't have that, and we can't support that. So we got to speak out when it's happening, wherever it's happening. And so I gotta, just wanted to show some solidarity with Jordan. And I've actually, like I said, I made an appearance, just like I just happened to be interviewed by Jordan Chariton on the on Status Coup before, when I was during the primaries. It was actually about, what was it, like a year ago? It was a little over a year ago. It was in February 2020, and it was right after literally the New Hampshire primary had just wrapped up, the votes and all counting the votes and everything. Bernie had just won New Hampshire. We were sort of riding that high. He was going into Nevada, for the next election, in which he would end up winning, and we were all, looking forward to that and expecting that. And Jordan Chariton, I ended up doing a quick interview with him. I'll play a clip from the interview. I think this clip, I think, is me maybe getting a prediction half right and half wrong about what was going to happen to Bernie. I believe that's in this clip. And then, just doing a shout out to Jordan Chariton and the work that he does. So I'll play a clip real quick. This is me on Status Coup a year ago. Oh, this was a different me. I was so hopeful back then. This is weird, seeing myself in myself. We'll see if I do this, how long I do this for.
Last question. Nevada next, South Carolina next. I think this is a real litmus test for Bernie and the progressive movement. I think if he wins Nevada, I mean, Bloomberg could throw $1 billion if he wants, but if he wins Nevada, that's the first 3 states victorious. That's a lot more diverse population. What's on the line looking at Nevada?
Yeah, I think that Nevada, especially, you know, the Latino vote is huge in Nevada. And so in South Carolina, the black vote is huge. So I think that we're going to see, you know, how his support in those marginalized communities really shows up. We've had two of the whitest states in the country so far, and now it's a chance to see, and he's done it. He showed that the ground game that they have is amazing. The ground game, the outreach to marginalized communities is amazing. Chuck Rocha, the Latino outreach director for Bernie Sanders campaign, he's amazing. The way that he breaks down these communities, the way that he understands what's going on the ground, and the way that they distribute their resources is so efficient. I mean, I was out there canvassing today, and I saw how it works from the inside. You know, I was canvassing out yesterday. I came up from Massachusetts to New Hampshire. This is what they do. They have a lot of energy, and people all over the country with this energy. And so I think we're going to see. I saw somebody today. I met somebody today that's planning to go down to South Carolina and canvass down there, leaving from New Hampshire soon. They're planning to go to Nevada. So I think that you know, we're going to see that energy. We're going to get a real chance to draw that clear line in the sand. And then from there, it's Super Tuesday, and they're not going to be able to do anything about it. I just want to say one more thing. If you haven't already, make sure you go to statuscoup.com/join and you join and you subscribe. All right. Yes, they need the support and independent media. What you do is amazing. Thank you for the coverage of Flint. I mean, you're a cut above the rest, you know. Nice. And so yeah, no, I think that you guys are amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, you're an amazing resource for you know, our movement and the country at large, really honestly. And so just keep doing what you're doing. You're starting small. You know, I know that you're coming up from all that, you know, whatever. And so I love to see the momentum that you guys are gaining. And yeah, I'm really happy to see that, and really happy that you guys are getting out there and doing the real reporting that's needed, and not this, you know, frivolous, you know, BS. It's the on the ground, the things that are affecting people's lives. So thank you so much for your coverage in Flint. It was amazing.
I didn't even pay him to say that.
No, absolutely not. No. But you can. If I need a job, I'm unemployed right now. So if you guys got internships, anything someday, keep on subscribing. Let's get, what are we at? 1,300, 1,400. You know, I'm a software engineer too. You know, I can do some.
You want to know about startup life? This fucking thing. Where's that fucking thing that I spent $12,000 on? I got it at a discount. They tell me it's going to work anywhere in America. It will work. Well, it didn't work here tonight. So sometimes, I mean, we probably, because of that fucking thing, we probably, you know, cost us probably $1,000 tonight. But that's okay.
1,500 subscribers, and then 2,000, and then 5,000, and then 10,000. Let's make this thing. You know, we got to support our independent.
How much can people join for?
$5, as low as $5 a month.
Join
all right,
Radical Democracy for $5 a month
Please
now too,
make
y'all.
it happen. All right, statuscoup.com/join. Do it now. Don't wait. Do it now.
Support y'all. Statuscoup.com/join.
What's your name again?
Kamali Rose.
Where are you from?
I'm from Massachusetts, Boston.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for all the work you do, guys.
Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you so much, Jamal, man.
All right, so that was me back. I had the interview that I did was much longer. I talked about workplace democracy in it. I went on a whole rant. It was like a whole sidetrack that I did about workplace democracy. Total like non sequitur, just like off topic, but I went in on it, and that's really cool. Angie Gracie says that yes, I do remember this interview, which is awesome. That's really cool. So that was, you know, I did that interview, and then a lot of the comments in there was like, I want to see more of this guy. And that, you know, is what encouraged me. A really big part of what encouraged me to start this channel. So, Angie says I'm from Massachusetts also. Nice. Awesome. And says Angie also campaigned for Bernie in New Hampshire and Massachusetts also. That's awesome, Angie. Shout out and thank you for all the work that you did. We deserved Bernie. You know, we would have had, you know, student loan debt would be canceled right now. We'd have a $15 minimum wage. I believe it. I believe it that we would have those things, because, you know, his Vice President Nina Turner would not have respected the foolish advice of the Senate parliamentarian, would have overruled that advice. They would have, you know, $15 minimum wage would have passed already. We'd have you know, all federal student loan debt would be canceled at this point. And, you know, advice given, you know, a directive given to the the Attorney General, who needs to you know, legalize descheduled cannabis. Like, I think all those steps would have already been taken. So, and we deserved that, and we fought hard for that. And that was it was just such a different time politically. You know, we there was so much hope alive then, and that it's just hard to have that same level of enthusiasm. And, you know, that it just goes to show, you know, we've been fighting this fight for a long time, and we're going to have to keep fighting. That's the thing. We're just going to have to keep fighting, and we're going to have to, you know, change tactics and figure out strategy and figure out what the best strategy is. You know, is it going to be electoral politics? My faith has been thoroughly shaken in electoral politics, and I believe less and less in it every day. And I do believe that the way out is going to be through, you know, building up grassroots movement, local movements, and building radical democracy into our economy through our workplaces, our housing, and in other, you know, crucial aspects of our lives, just democratizing our economy. So, you know, otherwise, I just, you know, I don't see a way forward.